Hello everybody and welcome to our talk about the Pancha Koshas or the 5 sheaths. We are using for this talk and all the other talks that we're going to have during this course the book of Prabhuji, Kundalini Yoga. The power is in you. And we had our introductory class where we explain very much what is the attitude that we're having when we're sharing all these beautiful things that Prabhuji is giving us in this book about this ancient wisdom of the Kundalini Yoga. And we also spoke about all the topics that we are going to see during this course. And today we have the privilege of speaking about the 5 koshas, the 5 sheaths. For me, it's a very exciting topic because I feel that it marked kind of the beginning of the spiritual search of many of us. So I can't wait to share with you about this specific topic. We see here that in the book, this is how Prabhuji begins. We have the first chapter where we're speaking about the astral body and the prana. And Prabhuji begins with the following sentence. Humans are multidimensional structures, and their souls are enveloped in many sheaths. So he's saying here 2 things. Humans are multidimensional structure, so it has different dimensions, and our soul is enveloped in different sheaths. So we have, as I said, 5 sheaths. And our soul, what we really are, is enveloped in these sheaths. This specific theory of the Pancha Koshas, the 5 sheaths, we find it in the Taittiriya Upanishad. I would like to mention them now very briefly so we know what we're going to be speaking about, and then we will dive into the whole topic. So, as I said, multidimensional structures. So it means that we have different dimensions, and we can compare this with the fact that we have also different bodies, not only different sheaths. These 5 sheaths are located in different bodies. The first body is the gross body, the physical body, the one that we can see, that it's more tangible. So it's the physical body. This is the Stula Sharira. Then we have the causal body, then we have the astral body, that here we have the Sukshma Sarira, this is the Sanskrit name, and then finally we have the causal body, which I mentioned also in our introductory class, that this is where everything is coming from, like the cause. This is the Karana Sharira, this is its name in Sanskrit. And then in these 3 bodies, we have these 5 sheaths. So the first sheath is located in the gross body, in the physical body. This is the Annamaya Kosha. It means the sheaths of food, consist of food. Then we have in the astral body, we have 3 layers, we have 3 sheaths. The first one is the Pranamaya Kosha. Remember that we spoke a lot in regards to prana, and this is actually our next class. We're going to be deepening more in the topic of prana and the Pranamaya Kosha. So then we have the second sheath in this body is the Manomaya Kosha, that is the mental sheath. And then we have the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the intellectual sheath. And in the last body, in the causal body, the Karana Sharira, we have the Anandamaya Kosha, or the sheath of bliss. So these are the 5 sheaths that we're going to be speaking about. As I just mentioned, this theory about the Pancha Koshas, we find it in the Taittiriya Upanishad. I will briefly mention what is the Taittiriya Upanishad. The Taittiriya Upanishad is part of one of the Vedas. The Vedas are the main scriptures, the oldest one in the religion of the Sanatana Dharma, originated in India. And we have 4 main Vedas. That's the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda, and the Atharva Veda. So the Taittiriya Upanishad comes from the Yajur Veda, and Prabhuji has a very nice definition of the Upanishads in his commentary to one of the many Upanishads. There are different quantities set in regards to how many Upanishads we have. Some say that we have 108 Upanishads. Others said that the number can raise up to 150. But I would like to read what's the definition that Prabhuji is giving us in the commentary that he did to one of these Upanishads. It's one of the main Upanishads. The name is Ishavasya Upanishad. So let's see what the definition says. The Upanishads are literary documents that collect the direct testimony of ancient Vedic seers or rishis about the ultimate reality. That is, they are intimate revelation of those who have realized the self. This literature is made up of maps of incalculable value for seekers of truth. These works are the precious heritage and legacy of the enlightened sages of old generations. The verb sad means to sit. The prefix ni means under, while the particle upa means close or intimate. In this way, the term Upanishad can be translated as teachings received at the feet of the master. So as we said, these are invaluable texts that we receive from the seers. The name in Sanskrit is, the word in Sanskrit is rishis, the seers. So someone that already saw the truth, and the teachings that we receive from these seers, when we're sitting at their feet, then these are called the Upanishads. So they call it a Vedanta, the culmination of the Vedas, like the peak of the Vedas. So we see how all the Upanishads have this valuable information, or not only, I wouldn't say information, I will say more wisdom, because it's not something that we want to acquire intellectually, but it's something that can help us in our path to discovering what we really are. So maybe here I can add what the Taittiriya Upanishad says about the purpose of the contemplation of the koshas. By a constant contemplation of these koshas, represented as altars of the sacred fire, the student attains wisdom. His buddhi or understanding becomes purer and acquires the faculty of true discrimination. With the growth of the faculty of true discrimination, he abandons the first kosha and recedes to the one next behind. Thus, step by step, he abandons one kosha after another, and receding behind all koshas and dissolving away all of them, he attains to a knowledge of his unity with Brahman and becomes liberated. So I found this purpose so beautiful, is in very few words explaining, as I said, the attitude that we're having when we are exploring and inquiring into this book of the Kundalini Yoga, The Power is in You of Prabhuji, and in general, like all the message that he's bringing us, this speaking out loud, then I feel that this paragraph of the Taittiriya Upanishad is revealing, is setting the attitude for this talk that we're going to have. When they say, he attains to a knowledge of his unity with Brahman and becomes liberated. So this is the purpose of all the things that we are sharing here, to attain this liberation, what we call in the Sanatana Dharma moksha. and to actually realize this unity with Brahman. Remember that we spoke about revealing, discovering, recognizing, because we already are what we long for. We already are this Brahman. We already have this unity. So what we're doing is, with different practices, with different studies, is trying to reveal this unity. Like there is something, there is a veil, there is something that is covering this recognition. And with the study of the koshas, when you go one by one, you study each and one of it, there is something that you discover at the end of studying each of these koshas. So let's enter and let's dive into each of the koshas now. The first one, as I mentioned, is located in the physical body, and the name is Annamaya Kosha. Anna means food, and Kosha means, Anna means food, and Maya means consist of. And then Kosha, we already said, we can translate it as sheets, layers also. So we have the sheet that consists of food. Like when we have this body, it is said that we need food in order to maintain it. And we are going to become food when we die. So this physical body, this tangible body that we can recognize easily, because we will see that the other bodies, we cannot see them. They are becoming more subtle. Then this is the one that is pervaded by food. So what we're doing in this study of the koshas is trying to see if we really are this body. How can we confirm? How can we test, explore if we are really the body? When we are searching for our true self, we begin by the fact that what we are never changes. It's permanent. It's always there. It's always conscious. It doesn't change. So we see very easily that this body is not the same than when we were 5 years old. It passes through different changes, and there is something else that is always there. Like you feel that there is something, when you look at yourself in the mirror, there is something else that was always there, and this body is changing. So we can remove this idea that we are the body. We are identified with it. Like I remember in my school, I remember the first day of my philosophy class, I remember that the teacher came to us and he asked us, "Who are you?" This famous question, right? Who am I? And I remember that me and all my friends answered with our name. Like I said my name, and my other friends also said their name. And our teacher said, "No, I am not asking you what's your name. I am asking you, who are you?" And then I remember that we answered saying a student. So we went to the profession of this body. And he said, "No, this is your profession. So who are you?" This is the question. And we were all thinking, and many of us started saying different adjectives of quality of our character, of our personality that can define us. And he said, "Listen, you are not going to be able to answer to this question today, but let's see during this class if you find a way to answer it." And I remember that I felt it, that this is something that marked like the beginning of the search, who I am. Like it's sparkling something, like this search to really understand, who am I? Like I remember also in college asking this question, like I am not all these things that are constantly changing. There is something that that stays, that is permanent there, always. What is that? Who am I? And we will see, like in this question, that it's a part of this self-inquiry, this investigation, and this exploration of what I really am. We have this method of the neti, nor this nor that. Like we find it very well explained in the book of Advaita Vedanta of Prabhuji. So this is also the method that we are using here when we're studying the koshas, because we are negating that we are not all these koshas, and what is that remains there after we see that we are not these koshas, after we leave this identification with each of these sheets that we're seeing today. So this is the Annamaya Kosha, the sheet of the food. We continue with the 3 sheets that are located in the astral body, the Sukshma or Linga Sharira. Here we have, starting with the Pranamaya Kosha. This is the one that is connecting the physical body with the astral body. So we have, and we can see in the pictures, we have the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, and Manomaya Kosha. So the Pranamaya Kosha is serving as a bridge between the Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheet, and the Annamaya Kosha, the physical, the food sheet. So this is like the bridge between these 2 koshas, and it's taking the same form of the food sheet. So we have the food sheet, and within the Pranamaya Kosha, then we have this food sheet. We will see that it's from the gross to subtle, and each sheet is within the other one. So in this sheet, the Pranamaya Kosha, we have the, as the name says, we have prana. We have the different types of prana, the different airs. We have the nadis. These are the conductors of all these pranas. And here we also have the chakras. Remember that we spoke about these 7 centers around the column, around the Sukshma Nadi, that is the Sushumna Nadi, that is the most important Nadi. We mentioned it in our introductory class. We will see it more during all our classes. In this layer, in this sheet, we also have the 5 organs of actions. Those are the mouth, the hands, the feet, the anus, and the genitals. And I remember like my first encounter with this, because someone will ask, how come something that I see, like these organs, the hands, the feet, something that I'm seeing in the physical body, is located in a in a more subtle sheet, like the Pranamaya Kosha, that we cannot see it. So the fact is that even though these are located, you can see them in the physical body, their source is actually located, like their operational department, it's located in the Pranamaya Kosha. So as I said, we will have here the 72,000 nadis are located in these sheets, and we will see that in order to tap into this sheet and to try to feel it, we can compare it to our energy. We spoke that an expression of prana, the closest that we have, is our breath. So this is a way for us to connect us and to sense more this sheath. And we will also see it with our energetical level. Like many times we are vibrant and we want to do things, and we have like this amazing storage of energy, and sometimes close to our time to sleep, then we feel a little bit more deprived. We see that we need to sleep in order to regain all this energy. So we see that this sheath is also changing. It doesn't stay always, it doesn't remain the same. So we can discard the fact that we are this sheath. We also see the identification of the sheaths when we are saying, I am hungry, I am sleepy. We are identifying ourselves with these sheaths, but when we study it and we actually see if it's something that it's always this way, I'm not always hungry, I am not always sleepy, so we can disregard it and continue to the next sheath and see if this is what we really are. So the next sheath is the Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheath. We have Manas and Chitta. These are two parts of the mind. Manas will be the one connected to the exterior with the senses. And then we have Chitta, that it works like a storage, like we can compare it to our memory. So in this specific sheet, we have the instinctive mind, like we see that it's connected through the senses, what we see, what we smell, what we hear. So here we also are going to have the cognitive organs, or the Jnanendriyas, which are the nose, the tongue, the eyes, the skin, and the ears. So what we will see, I would like now to mention the Vijnana Maya Kosha, because these two layers are interconnected. Like one, it's the external part, and this external part is giving information to this internal part that will be the Vijnana Maya Kosha, or the intellectual sheath. Here we have what we call the Buddhi and the Ahankara. The Buddhi is the one that is performing discrimination, and then we have the Ahankara, that is the one that is adjudicating to itself the things. It's saying, this is mine, or I am. So we will see then that with Manas, we are Manas is retrieving information from the exterior through the senses, the nose, the tongue, the ears, and then it's giving, this information is passing through Chitta, that is the storage, is saying, oh, is this something that I recognize? Is it a chair? Is this a table? Is it something that I recognize? So then Buddhi is putting like more ethical, it's discriminating more about it, like is this a good chair, is it a bad chair? And then Ahankara comes and says, oh, this is my chair. This is a very simple example of how these four parts of the mind are working, divided in these two sheets, but we can see more also how in both of these sheets things are also changing and they are not permanent. So we can also disregard the fact that what we really are is in one of these sheets. Like there is still something that is conscious of the thoughts, that is conscious of this discrimination that we have. Like when we're speaking about the Vijnana Maya Kosha, in the mental sheath, the Manomaya Kosha, we have the instinctive mind, and then in the Vijnana Maya Kosha, because it's more subtle, it's more inside, then we have what it's called the intuition. Like we can tap more with this intuition that we all have. But we also see that there is something or someone experiencing all these thoughts, all these feelings also. So we can see that besides the fact that it's changing, there is something else that is experimenting, witnessing all these things. So last but not least, we have in the causal body, in the Karana Sharira, we have the Ananda Maya Kosha, the sheet of the bliss. And it sounds amazing. It is amazing, like when we tap to these feelings of joy, of completeness, of happiness, we are tasting what we have in this sheet, the sheet of bliss. And when we can experience it or not experience it, like we can know more that we were in these sheets when we have a very deep sleep, when we're not dreaming. And the day after we sleep, we feel so energized and we feel so amazing. We know that we had this very good sleep. It's because we were there. We were in the Ananda Maya Kosha, in this sheet of bliss. This is why many are going to refer to what happens when we are in deep sleep to the samadhi of the stupid, because we are in contact with this bliss sheet, but we're not even there to experience it. Like the manas and the vijnana kosha are not there to actually adjudicate to themselves this. So we also see that we are not always in this state of bliss, of happiness. So we can also disregard our identification with this sheet. We are not that. There is still something that remains. So with this theory of the Pancha Koshas, there are many that are comparing it to the layers of an onion, or this famous Russian doll, the Matryoshka, because if you are peeling the onion layer by layer, you remove all the layers and then you stay with nothing. And also with the Matryoshka, you remove all of these dolls, and at the end, what is that remains? And in the Taittiriya Upanishad, they are encouraging us to study all these sheets, to discover what is that remains, and to attain this liberation, to attain this wisdom, this, as they said, pure discrimination of what really are, and to recognize this unity with Brahman, with the Absolute, to recognize and realize what I really am. So this is everything for today. As I said, we have our next class where we're going to be deepening more into the Pranamaya Kosha and what is prana, what is this life force that is pervading everything. I want to thank you very much for the time that you dedicated to listening or watching this class in regards to this very interesting topic of the Pancha Koshas. Thank you very much. Jai Prabhuji.